This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And we have a guest today.
Hello, I'm Kurt.
Or you can go by Coin. I don't really care.
Eh.
Alright, well, Kurt's channel is CoinPlant, as you can see on the screen here. You find him by typing in CoinPlant, all one word, and clicking on this orange-looking thing. And his channel's right here with this fantastic Technicolor-looking hyper... What's my brain not working today for? I keep thinking, psychedelic background here.
Yeah, looks like watercolor or something that's like all blending together.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
Who
did that for you?
I made that myself.
Wow, look at you.
I like it.
It would look quite a bit better if your YouTube was in dark mode.
It is dark mode. Oh, it's not dark mode, is it?
I'm just pulling your chain.
You know, when you don't sign in, it doesn't go dark mode on you. Let's see. You know, I should do this on every video. I don't know why we're always in light mode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It does look better. I like it.
Yes. Yeah, light mode is a toxic thing. So, anyways, if you want to check out CoinPlant, what do you do, CoinPlant? Kurt.
Well, I guess in a word, I mock everything. If you really enjoy that kind of perspective of a, angry 20-something just sort of making fun of this, that, and the other thing, then that's sort of what my channel is.
Very nice. Very nice. And he also puts up videos of a chicken dancing on occasion.
That's true.
Or
I do animation stuff.
Chimican? I don't know how you pronounce that word.
So it's like chicken but spelled wrong, and that's the joke.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's
not
exactly.
The video that confused me the most was, you won't believe how many beans I can fit into this hat. Why?
It was a lot of beans. Some people just wouldn't believe it.
Okay. All right. I can respect that, especially when people like iDubbbz are making random bouncy half rubber ball things. So, anyways, that's not the point of today. Well, what's the point of today? What is today?
Today is Manic Monday. We need to come up with a different one. I feel like that was left back in the original episodes. We need to update it.
It's Manic Monday. Okay, so today we're going to be covering a story that both old and semi-newer Star Wars fans can relate to, mostly because it's coming back in the limelight recently, and that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and EA potentially remaking it. Okay, so the reason we're bringing this up 2 weeks in a row, because normally we don't do that.
Because we're more pissed off this week.
Because I'm very fired up right now. Okay, I sent out an angry tweet. I'll even show you guys the tweet. Okay, because I was pretty fired up when I wrote this thing. I got some responses that I was not expecting. Let's see if I can find the dang thing. Oh, and by the way,
was it? Oh, sorry.
When we hit 1,000 subs, I've made this promise on Twitter. There may have been some drinking involved. When we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube or BitChute, I will do a cover of the Numa Numa song in celebration. So please make that happen. Will be very happy.
I will be.
Right, let's see if I can find this tweet.
I do have a question. Was the tweet you received by Garth? Because anytime that man says anything, it's something I have never expected anyone to ever say.
What do you mean?
He said he received a tweet that you weren't expecting, and so I was like, oh yeah, it's probably...
No, it wasn't from him.
Right.
It was from a Lucasfilms or /LucasArts fan account, which I actually thought... Oh, here we go.
Probably still Garth.
We are covering the new developments in KOTOR rumors next Monday. Don't mess with the KOTOR story. If you aren't going to do this remake right, EA, just don't do it. No retooling or changes are necessary for this series. Leave it alone. And I believe... Let's see. I got this. This one was cool. Somebody sent me a picture of all the games from that time period. But then I got a reply from... Where is it? I got a reply... Oh, I tweeted back. That's right. Here it is. That goes double for Disney and Lucasfilm games. Don't mess with this story. Leave it the way it is. It's already one of the greatest Star Wars stories ever written. It doesn't need to be altered for canonical reasons. Quotations. And then Lucasfilms Games to LucasArts. It was the name of it was Lucasfilms Games. I just assumed it was the real account because how did they get that? But anyways, it says it absolutely needs to be different. I don't need to play two times the same story. That's fair, but if they're going to change the story, don't change 1 and 2. Write a new story. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But then they kept replying, I'll take an HD remaster and a reinvention. I don't know how that would work, because then which one's canon? The reinvention or the remastered? I don't know. That's where I'm at with that. And then they said there will be no KOTOR 3. That would be the preference. HD remake plus a KOTOR 3. And then they said, frankly, they just need to tell another story in this era. I'm also okay with that as long as it doesn't affect the main story of the KOTOR series. So I'm not completely against what this person has to say, but I hope they're wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, they could go the Modern Warfare route where they have the remaster and then they have the complete retooling.
Yeah, that's true. So anyways, basically in this article, it says that EA and Disney are working together to make it fit the Disney canon.
It's going to suck, Chris.
But here's the question. How does it not fit the Disney canon already? There's no impact to the Disney canon for this thing being in there or this thing not being in there. Well,
there's going to be time travel. Rey's going to go back in time and kill them. That's how this is going to work.
No. Maybe they're gonna make Bastila Rey's like great.
Well, yeah, that's already the case.
Grandmother.
Somehow Palpatine will be there. Just watch.
He's always been there.
Yeah.
Did you watch the new Star Wars, Coin?
Yes, I did. I had a video about it actually.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you? I forgot what you said. It's been so long since I watched that video. Then
it was. Well, it doesn't really matter. I did indeed watch the new Star Wars.
Okay, then are you a fan or a non-fan? Just clear that up.
It's sort of it's hard to place because I think it's a movie with so many great ideas, but it's a tire fire. That's what it is. It struggles to pick up the mess that Episode 8 left behind. I think it does an okay job at that, but it's just not good enough.
No, it's not. And I think if Episode 8, if anything, Disney could have just said, okay, Episode 8 never happened, let's rewrite it.
They should have been totally okay with that. If they could have made 2 more movies, they would have made double the money, and I would have gone and seen both of them.
Or just make 8 alternate reality Star Wars.
Yeah, like a what-if story.
Yeah.
What if you didn't actually need to be trained and you're the most powerful Jedi?
It was all a dream.
What if Carrie Fisher died, but they wanted to still make money, so they digitally reanimated her and made her.
Yeah. Also, that's another scene from the episode 8. It would have been really cool was it when she got blown out of the ship, just to have her die in that scene because no one would have expected it.
That's true. That's a good point.
That was like a powerful emotional moment they could have had. They're like, hey, you know what? Surprise force powers.
Yeah, Mary Poppins.
Geeks and Gamers actually put out a story recently where they said, hey, George Lucas wants to come back. And then it was actually proven true that he does want indeed to come back to Star Wars, which, of course, he does.
As long as he's not the director, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, he writes good stories. He just isn't directing stories.
He's great at making stories and creating characters, but his directing is, in my opinion,
it's lackluster.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the first question. Why does EA have to change this? This game is a masterpiece loved by many, many Star Wars fans. Okay, I don't understand why you would need to change this story. Second, is this Disney or EA? Who do you think's more likely? We kind of already discussed why is EA changing the masterpiece. I think it's just to satisfy folks on Twitter and Facebook and random news sites who don't like the original story for reasons. That's all I'm going to say about that one.
I don't remember the original story being even remotely offensive or even out of place with what's going on in today's world. So
I don't think that they want it to change because of it being offensive. I think they want to add things to it for the sake of adding them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, think about it. How many extra plot lines were in episodes 7 through 9 that probably didn't need to be there to tell the same story?
All of them. Sorry, go ahead, Coin.
No, I can think of one that rhymes with Bacino Planet.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
Or how about throwing out probably the best character in the entire 7 through 9 trilogy to like essentially a cameo role in episode 9? I mean, Finn was great. And
Finn, I really enjoyed Finn.
and then they just like wrote him off. I'm like, this is
Well,
first off, it's 2019. He's not the character you write off. You write off Poe if anybody. But
Don't worry, they did that too.
Yeah, they did.
I'm just saying, like Finn was like he defected from the stormtroopers. It's like, come on, that is a great story. That should have been told way better.
Yeah, I know that we're supposed to be talking about the KOTOR game, but that whole plot line with like the Raylo thing, oh my gosh,
Garbage.
So frustrating to me.
It's very out of place.
They set up Finn and Rey. If you're gonna have any love story, that was the love story, and I feel like they didn't pull the trigger because they're afraid of having. I'm not gonna get political on this, but it really frustrates me.
But that's why I'm so nervous about them changing KOTOR. How many plot lines are going to be put into the game that don't matter? And how many characters are they going to remove from the game, essentially, by making them more cameo roles? There was so many good characters and storylines in this game to begin with. It's a very diverse crowd. I don't understand what they would need to retool to make it fit Disney canon. It doesn't make any sense. I'm
more worried about it just becoming just less great. Like Andromeda, where it's like, it's a KOTOR game, but it just kind of sucks.
Have you played this game, Coin?
I have indeed. Knights of the Old Republic 2 was the first asterisk computer game that I ever played, and the asterisk is a qualifier because I don't count the VeggieTales point-and-click island adventure game.
I'm so happy you said that that's the other game you played, because VeggieTales is awesome, but keep going.
Yeah, it was like the first computer game I ever played. Me and my sister would come home after school, and we would like sort of co-op. We'd almost like just think tank the game together, and we're like, all right, what do we got to do to? Because they were complex games. Sometimes it wasn't very obvious what you did, and it had a really sort of gritty, like old school RPG element of like, here are the tools allotted, and here's. It had the journal where it tracked all the conversations like to a T, and it really just sort of gave you everything you needed, and then you sort of worked out the puzzles on your own. And I think that is probably what's going to be changed about them is the feeling. And that's what I don't like, because there's such a unique feeling about the even just the setting provided and the sort of agency given to the player throughout sections of the game, and Disney is not. I don't know. It just feels like they're going to sterilize that if they change anything.
Well, they have the Disney formula. Everything has to fit into the exact same formula, and if it doesn't, they just throw it out.
I'm going to be very frustrated if they change even a single character storyline in this game. All right? If they have to tool in somebody, then don't change anybody else. Like, for example, there's a game, Persona 4 Golden. They remade Persona 4, and this is not Disney, so they didn't screw it up. And they tooled this extra character in, but they didn't change the main story. They just added on an extra dungeon to the game for this particular character. And it did not change the story significantly. It gave a better background explanation to the game and didn't actually affect the end game. So it was like one of the greatest additions to a retooled game ever, my opinion.
Yeah, so like I'd be okay with them changing some things if it makes sense. Like if it's still within the spirit of the game and of the original Star Wars canon, because we all can agree it's better. But like Coin's saying, I'm really worried they're going to ruin the feeling of what this game is. But we'll see, I guess.
How much of the original core audience will be maintained if they change this game? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, the Star Wars fanatics, people that are like obsessed with Star Wars, will still play this game regardless. But let's just say Star Wars, more casual Star Wars fans. Are these people also going to play this? Are new Star Wars fans going to play this? Who do you lose more if you change this game? You know what I mean?
Well, change it negatively to the point like what they've been doing recently with everything else. They're going to lose the original Star Wars fan, which honestly makes up the bulk of the Star Wars audience. I mean, you can just look at Galaxy's Edge to understand why you don't deviate too far from the original 6 movies and that canon. But yeah, I think that if they change it too much and go in like really off in left field, they're going to alienate the original fans. I guess you can say, not the ones they picked up with this new trilogy.
Well, when you say original fans, you're talking about saga fans, not 9-episode fans. You're talking about like 1 through 6, because
that's
these came out during like the 1, 2, 3 trilogy. Mm-hmm. So like, younger people appreciated this game along with people from the original trilogy, because it was just such a great story and it didn't affect the original 6 episodes of Star Wars.
Yeah.
What about you, Coin?
I mean, there's not much extra. I do think it's an interesting question, but honestly, if they do remaster this game, yeah, I find it hard to believe that the number isn't close to 100% of the people that played the original KOTOR and KOTOR 2. I think most of them are just gonna play the new one. And that's maybe that's not true, but that's my opinion.
But at least people that are still playing games that used to play. Like anybody that's still on, like Will and I still play games, but like some of our friends who would have played this back in the day may not still be playing video games at all. So those people likely won't play it anyways, no matter who they target this at. Now here's a question that's kind of loaded. Which company has done more damage to the Star Wars franchise, Disney or EA? And I think it's an easy answer.
Oh, I know what I'm going to say, but go ahead and Coin.
When you say damage, do you mean as like an image thing or a finance thing? Yes.
Has Disney done more damage to the video related elements of Star Wars, or has EA done more damage to the video game element of Star Wars? That's a better way to phrase it. Sorry. Who's hurt it more?
To the brand of Star Wars, like the identity of it.
So you would have to agree that they are actually damaging the brand.
Correct.
Let's just go ahead and assume that you do agree to that, I guess.
Yeah. And if you disagree, then why?
I think there are a few qualifiers here. I think it's Disney, because I don't bestow EA enough power to damage the brand of Star Wars. It's just it's too strong of an IP for them to ruin. Essentially, that's my opinion.
I would say though, if you just look at it from the media standpoint of like video games as a media, and then the videos as a separate media, I think EA with Battlefront 2 did more damage in 1 year than Disney has done to the Star Wars video franchise. Now, overall, Disney made the call to go with EA in the first place for their exclusive video game franchise. So essentially, it all boils down to Disney's bad decisions. But I think that EA and Battlefront 2, up until Star Wars Episode... Which came out first, Battlefront 2 or Episode 8? I don't remember.
Battlefront 2.
I think Battlefront 2, until Episode 8 came out, did more damage because of the microtransaction situation. Disney actually had to step in and say, EA, remove the microtransactions for the time being, or you will hurt us. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I guess my answer to this is Disney, for similar reasons, because one, they chose EA, which is a terrible company, to do this, and they should have diversified. I think they should have had multiple companies working on these games.
Obsidian.
Obsidian, or there's a large number of developers that could have done this. But the thing is, I also picked Disney because the distaste that I had from Episode 8 bled into all the other media. So I was, avidly reading the books, I was playing the games, and then I watched Episode 8, and I walked out of there, I was like, Star Wars has been so diminished for me after this, which is terrible to say, because, how does the one movie do that to me? Yeah. But I for a long time, I was like, I'm so upset right now because of what direction they're going in.
And Will likes the Christmas special.
It's goofy. But, I've actually recently gone back and rewatched the prequels and the original trilogy, and it's actually got me more interested in going back and reading the legends and playing these older games. But overall, I would still say that Disney had a larger impact on ruining the brand for me.
given that we all agree that Disney has in fact had some impact on Star Wars in a negative fashion, the last question that we should probably talk about is what's our opinion on Disney just coming in and disregarding all the existing canon when they bought Star Wars and the impact it's had on the franchise? In my personal opinion, when I heard that they disregarded all except for essentially the 6 videos and the television series, right? That was pretty much it. Everything
but they
else
also
was
disregarded that, but okay.
Okay, well, even that then.
Yeah.
My first thought was, oh no, KOTOR doesn't matter anymore. That was literally my first thought was, holy cow, my favorite Star Wars story. Even I like KOTOR better than I like most of the Star Wars saga, which is very controversial probably to say, but that is the truth. I love the KOTOR games. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why I ended up loving the prequel trilogy so much, because it came out at the same time as KOTOR, and I was playing KOTOR like crazy. So I was like, ooh, Star Wars, ooh, KOTOR, woo, love it. So when Disney disregarded that, I immediately got disgusted with Disney. It's like, come on, this has no impact on anything you guys are trying to do. Why would you do this? This is a stupid move. You've alienated half the franchise, or half the franchise's fans, I should say, because a lot of them read the books. It's one of the few franchises that I can honestly say, when I talk to people, half of them have read at least 2 books. You know, that's pretty big because people don't read nowadays. And I was so distraught that KOTOR was no longer canon. I was like, well, they'll never remake it. It'll never get a remake. And now here we are, 2020, talking about a remake with KOTOR, and they want to retool the story to meet their canon, which doesn't even, there is no canon for this. Why? So that's my opinion. I hate the fact that Disney took away canon from all these different things.
Yeah. At first, I honestly didn't care. I thought they were trying to do that just to have like a cleaner slate, because, you know, the Legends was so far-reaching past the original trilogy and before the prequel trilogy and in between, that they're like most of the stories had already been told. And I think at first I was like, okay, they just want to tell a new story. So that's why they're wiping this away, and they're going to start bringing some back in, which they did. They brought a lot of those stories actually back, like the Thrawn trilogy, quite a few of the books during the prequels and things like that. They have essentially republished them, and now they're canon again. But then fast forward to, I believe it was last year, where Kathleen Kennedy said that there was no books or comic books or games to base these new movies off of. I was like, what are you talking about? You have all this material that you could have used.
Well, she's just not very bright.
I'm not going to say that. That's terrible. She's done great work on other movies.
What I mean by that is she didn't make a bright statement in the time.
No, yeah, exactly. So
it was a bad
the thing
statement.
is, yeah, and you know, retroactively now I'm pissed off that they did that, because like these are some great stories. However, I also don't like when games and other media are tied to have to be canon. It's like, I don't necessarily need a video game that's canon. I'd be totally okay with a Darth Vader game that has nothing to do with the movies, or a Luke game, or a Rey game even. That has nothing to do with the movies, and just go off on your own adventure. I'd be fine with that. That's my piece.
What you got, Coin?
I have a sort of like anecdotal tangent. When I was a young boy, I was sort of a prequel stan. I enjoyed a lot of the material of the prequels. You know, now that I'm, older, wiser, I have my wits about me, I realize that a lot of the prequels are not good. Looking at you, Chris. But because I was so invested in that sort of era of Star Wars, and I really just loved I loved the world in its entirety, I started reading the books as a young lad, and specifically the books that come to mind were kind of this series following Boba Fett as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it was less like gritty bounty hunter stuff than it was a sort of coming of age road trip across a cold and disparate universe. And it was great world building, and it made me feel like, there was just this immense depth to the world beyond what you see in the movies and in the TV show. And that's something that the first trilogy had working for it really well, was was world building. It felt lived in. So when Disney decides, hey, we're just going to sort of get rid of all that, the world is actually empty, hollow, and the only thing that matters is what Disney says. That really made me very angry, because here's all this content that you sort of attach to growing up. Maybe it's just me personally, but a lot of people like reading, and they like getting invested crazy, right? They get invested in the worlds, and then people are just like, it doesn't matter anymore. Feels wrong.
Yeah. Also, the quality of books have gone down. I don't know if you've read any of the new ones, but they're not as well written.
I haven't, and I don't. It's been a while. I don't know if the books I read were any good, but it still expanded on the lore, and that was the important part.
The Boba Fett books are actually quite good. I enjoyed them, so I'll agree.
So, I think we can all agree the canon deletion by Disney, the making the Legends, the expanded universe stuff, that was just not a smart move.
No.
And then on top of that, if you actually use the Star Wars universe books, you could have wrote some extra things in there if you really wanted to. But you already had a game plan for how your next 3 movies could have went. It would have been a lot easier to use that as your game plan and then just kind of branch off if you need to, than it would be to essentially say, hey, why don't you write 3 independent films that we have no background story for? And then on top of that, the thing that made me the angriest, just to end this video, KOTOR, not canon, and now they're going to retell it in a different way. And I just feel completely betrayed by LucasArts and Disney for them doing that. Do you have any closing thoughts, Will?
I just hope that they don't screw up the feeling. Like I said, they can change it. They can change some of the character storylines as long as the feeling is still there. I'm fine with it, I guess. But I'm worried. It's EA and Disney, so yeah.
Closing comments, Coin?
Mass Effect Andromeda.
I like it. All right, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Will.
I'm also here.
He's Kurt. Go subscribe to CoinPlant. As always, I'm Chris, and we already did this, so we will see you
on the next CHRILLCAST.